Wisconsin, there are gerrymandered congressional lines right now. As soon as possible, we need to be able to revisit that and have fair lines. The only way for that to be a significant possibility is if you have an enlightened Supreme Court.
Yes, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat leader in the House of Representatives, insisting that they need to maintain control, which they currently have, of the Wisconsin Supreme Court so they can gerrymander and poach, steal congressional seats, seize control of the House of Representatives, and make him the Speaker of the House so that anti-Semitism will reign supreme. The Democrat Party. A very good Tuesday to you once again, and welcome back to our humble radio broadcast. We remain at 888-630-9625. And, boy, we got two special elections going on in Florida today for the House of Representatives, and one special election in the state of Wisconsin for an open seat on the state Supreme Court. There are 7 seats on the state Supreme Court. And the Democrats, they really want to control everything and everyone, because you have to keep in mind they're not liberals, they're the left. Also, over the weekend when Elon Musk was in Green Bay, Wisconsin, holding a big event there, it was wonderful. A lot of great stuff, a lot of really great stuff. But turns out that the Democrats gave millions of illegal aliens Social Security numbers. How about that? According to Elon Musk and the Doge people, taking a look at the inner workings of our government and the Biden administration, in fact, I think just in their last year, their fourth and final year, they gave millions of Social Security numbers to illegal aliens. And the Democrats also, they advocate, and they do it all over the country, give driver's licenses to illegal aliens in New York City and in Washington, D.C., I'm sure other jurisdictions as well. If you're not a citizen, they invite you to vote. They don't care whether you're legal or illegal. You have to be a citizen to vote in the United States, except when the left is there, and when they're not firebombing car dealerships and shooting places up, then they're encouraging illegal aliens and other people who are not citizens to vote in our local elections. And in Washington, D.C., you don't have to be a citizen to vote in local elections. In New York City, you don't have to be a citizen to vote in local elections. And then they have the honor system when it comes to not voting in federal elections and national elections. But pretty amazing stuff, I've got to say. These people, one of the things we learned from Musk and the Doge people, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Sunday, Democrats did give millions of illegal aliens Social Security numbers, and they were registering to vote. And the Democrats are happy about that because they believe in no borders. It's a Davos world, and everybody gets a Gulfstream jet, except everybody doesn't. Elon Musk has confirmed that they did vote. Democrats qualified illegals for maximum Social Security benefits because, they work their whole lives paying into the system, right? Oh, no, they've been in Venezuela being gang members, and then the Democrats give them your money and your daughter because that's the Democrat Party today. They enrolled in Medicaid with their new Social Security numbers that the Democrats gave them. I got to tell you, we need to start deporting Democrats from the United States. Amazing stuff. That's the Doge people, Elon Musk and Doge, on stage on Sunday, Green Bay, Wisconsin, put up a graphic showing the number of new signups for Social Security who are not legally in the country, right? So then you'll notice there is a strange what jumped out at us, they said, when we saw these numbers. We were like, what is this? In 2021, you see 270,000 people It goes all the way up to 2.1 million people in 2024. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers. Now, why did they give out 270,000 in 2021? The first year Joe Biden was our corrupt, ridiculous, brain-damaged president. And then 2.1 million Social Security numbers given to non-citizens in 2024 alone. Right? This is a mind-blowing charge from the Doge people. It literally blew us away, they said. If I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I would have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it, and Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system, they have defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefits programs that have been sent to max inclusion, max pay for these people and minimum collection. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid as an example. This is how many billions and billions does this cost us, the American taxpayers working hard? You know, a lot of illegal aliens on welfare. It used to be you got to work hard. A lot of people on welfare depending on you. Now they're bringing in millions and millions of illegal aliens and putting them on public assistance and Social Security and Medicaid and all this good stuff. Yep, and they said, and then what was really, really disturbing, because that wasn't it. What was really, really disturbing us was why why we're asking ourselves why. So we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records, and we found people here registered to vote in this population. Yes. Who did vote? ? We found some by sampling that actually did vote. So this is the Democrat Party's plan for the United States of America. We've referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service. Yeah, already. That is already happening right now, they said on stage. The truly disturbing thing, though, I just want you to know this, a truly disturbing thing to me, and the darkest thing about this to me, the voter fraud is terrible. So there you go. You're giving Social Security numbers to illegals by the millions. And the Democrat Party is here to destroy the United States of America as we know it, because they are not on our side. Man, I am telling you. That's Elon and the gang, Kool and the gang, Green Bay, Wisconsin, on Sunday at a big event, and the news media really ignored it. They ignored it as much as they could, certainly. Our Democrat Party. I'm telling you. What's the matter with these people? That's what I want to know. It's corruption, rampant. They love corruption. I'm telling you. And Democrats, they've got a global warming museum. I live in Washington, D.C., and I'd go to museums, and I'm aware of museums. Turns out that the Biden administration created a climate change museum in Washington, D.C., because they love climate change. I love climate change, too. I think the planet would be much nicer if it were a couple degrees warmer, don't you? So it's always a little chilly. Jasmine's nodding a little. It's a little chilly, right? It'd be nice if it were. People don't say, hey, I'm going on vacation. Let's go to the Arctic. They say, let's go to Florida. It's a thing, get a little chilly in New York. Let's go to Arizona. You know why? Because people like warm weather. I grew up in Chicago for the most part. And the moment I turned 19, I got on an airplane built by the patriarchy and flew to Los Angeles, California, drove up the coast a little, moved to Santa Barbara for 7 years. I was like, wow, this is different. This is possible, huh? Let me tell you, the weather in Santa Barbara is better than the weather in Chicago. You know why? It's warmer. That's why. And everybody knows that's better. I didn't chip ice off a car once in 7 years in Santa Barbara, not once. Amazing. But let's go to our EPA administrator, soundbite number 14, because this made me laugh. Lee Zeldin is our EPA administrator, the Environmental Protection Agency. And he was on the television last night on the Fox News Channel, and he has already gone because they're trying to downsize the stupidity in government, and the Democrats, they love the stupidity in government, and they want to grow the government. There is no shrinking government with them around. But Lee Zeldin, EPA administrator, shutters National Environmental Museum, which they just had insult to injury. They put in the Ronald Reagan Building in Washington, D.C. The National Review magazine has the story, Audrey Fahlberg writing the story. She's in the news business and a truth seeker. Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin is shuttering the National Environmental Museum and Education Center on Monday. Seems like a good idea. That's yesterday, citing taxpayer-funded operating costs and low visitor attendance as reasons for closure. Now, Lee Zeldin, again, was on the television last night, and he talked about this. It cost us, like $1 million per visitor or something.
We are going to collapse the real estate footprint. We're announcing here on your show that we're going to be vacating 7 floors of the Ronald Reagan Building, saving the American taxpayer another $18 million. I've canceled now $22 billion worth of contracts. You can add another $600,000 a year from closing this museum.
They, according to Lee Zeldin, the EPA museum cost $4 million of our dollars to build, to keep up the Smithsonian standards, and they've seen fewer than 2,000 visitors since they opened their doors in May of 2024. Fewer than 2,000 people have walked through the place. Hey, there's the Climate Change Museum, Lee Zeldin.
If you were to visit the museum located here at EPA headquarters in D.C., you would learn a lot about the road to environmental justice and climate change. I'm currently standing inside of this museum, which was built and curated by the Biden administration with $4 million in taxpayer dollars. As if this wasn't enough of a price tag to fill a room the size of an apartment, this shrine to environmental justice and climate change cost the American taxpayer $600,000 to operate annually.
15,000 square foot space, right? $600,000 a year to operate. Lee Zeldin.
This agency has been spending $123,000 on cleaning, $207,000 for security, $54,000 on maintenance, and an additional $54,000 on storage.
But it's very popular, isn't it, Lee Zeldin?
From May 2024 through last month, only 1,909 members of the public visited the museum. Even though it is free admission, this museum costs you, the taxpayer, $315 per external visitor.
Do they get a really nice meal with that? You get like Chateaubriand and a nice poulet poussé or something like that? Because, so $315 per visitor for a museum, 1,909 people.
I have pledged to be an exceptional steward of taxpayer dollars.
Steward.
So this shrine to EJ and climate change will now be shut down for good. Under President Trump, we are ending the practice of burning tax dollars on pet projects that do nothing to help this agency achieve our mission.
The city's full of a lot of big buildings that are filled with things like this that Democrats created as pet projects, and then over the course of years, fewer than 2,000 people visit. Cost $315 tax dollars per person to walk through the place to learn nothing except maybe something that's wrong. The Democrat Party, they should be in Moscow permanently. You know that the all-new Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier, speaking of clean air, is finally here. The new Thunderstorm uses 2 different technologies that studies have proven will help to kill up to 99.9% of nasty bacteria and dust and pet dander and get all kinds of stuff. You know, if it clean it out of the air that you breathe. It also gets rid of any odor. And you have no filters to buy and replace again and again because that's annoying. You can hold a thunderstorm in your hand. They're only this big. The thunderstorm is going to help get rid of any stinky smell, your home, your office, from litter boxes, trash cans, cigarette smoke. Left-wing protesters are no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. And right now, you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. You can put one in your basement, your teenager's room, your kitchen, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code Chris3 to save $200 American on 3 thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com, and the discount code is Chris3. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's good. See, I didn't even know it was there. I'm down there all the time. Oh, there's something in here. I saw pictures of the interior. It's ridiculous. It's a monument to stupidity. $315 per visitor, and it's free. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at WashingtonTimes.com/Chris. All right, let's take another phone call. I want to fill you in on what's going on with Newsmax, too. Let us go now to Jerry on the telephones, calling from North Little Rock, Arkansas. Not just Little Rock, North Little Rock. Jerry, thank you. You're on the Chris Plante Show.
Sir.
Hey.
Good morning, sir. It's a pleasure to speak to the GOAT. I'm Miss Rush, but you, sir, are the GOAT.
Well, you're very, very kind. Thank you.
I like to think that as soon as that time slot come open, I like to think that I willed the Right Squad into existence. But then I tried it with Todd Starnes, and I only got him to Newsmax too.
Well,
so,
you're very good.
Anyway, Todd, a little public service announcement for the libtards out there. Mm-hmm. I wonder how many of the Tesla haters are driving around in Volkswagens, Audis, or Porsches. And I wonder if they know the history of Volkswagen. Perhaps you could enlighten them.
Well, sure. The Volkswagen, the People's Wagen, was a pet project of Adolf Hitler himself. And, of course,
no
Porsche,
kidding.
BMW, Mercedes, all entangled with the Nazi regime, the actual Nazis. Unlike Elon Musk, who's a great American, a freedom lover, a liver of free speech. And that's why he must be destroyed, because he represents the opposite of what the left represents. Right, Jerry?
That's right. You know, I always heard it that Hitler gave them a list of things that he wanted in a car, and they gave him the Volkswagen Beetle.
The Beetle. I like the Kubelwagen and the Schwimmenwagen. Oh, yeah, today is April Fool's Day, too. That's because it's the 1st of April, and we have a tradition in the United States of America to play pranks on April Fool's Day. And it's a fun tradition. We've always been a fun culture. The Democrat Party, not so much, with lynching trees and firebombing churches and the Weather Underground and being pro-communist and anti-capitalist and pro-crime. And they got all these terror groups with the Weathermen and the Weather Underground and the Symbionese Liberation Army and the Students for a Democratic Society and the KKK. The Democrat Party's not. I don't know what they do on April Fool's Day. Oh, speaking of which, we have audio we want to share with you. In Ohio, Saturday was a day of rage for the mental Democrats, and it was their day of rage against Teslas and Elon Musk, because they had I think the guy summed it up out. He was in New York or Massachusetts, made a sign at home and brought it to a protest that he went to because he has no no value in life. Nobody loves him. He was a grown man, a white man, a member of the patriarchy. And he showed up with a sign that simply said, "I hate Elon Musk." Can you imagine making a sign that just says, "I hate," and then writing someone's name in? Yeah. I hate. It's like it should be Osama bin Laden or, whoever the remaining living head of Hamas is or something. But they love Hamas. They love the Houthis. They want to defend the Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran. The Democrats, they funded Iran. Barack Obama funded Iran, made sure Iran had billions more in oil revenue, energy revenue, so they could wage war against civilization itself. Barack Obama helped. He helped. And then Joe Biden came in. They were holding 5 American hostages or 5 Americans hostage because they're terrorists. And Joe Biden gave them $6 billion so they could fund and fuel Hamas and the Houthis and Hezbollah and war against Israel and America and civilization itself. The Democrats help because they're not liberals, they're the left.
And I help.
But the fact is, on Saturday, when they had their Day of Hate nationwide, they said it was international. I didn't see it was because they like to think everything, their disease like monkeypox is global, But they had an anti-Tesla, anti-Elon Musk protest rally gathering in Ohio, and a gentleman drove up in his Tesla to the protest, and all the lunatics were screaming and cursing at him and threatening him, and the mob violence was just omnipresent. It was in the air, and you got to listen carefully. We beeped out all the dirty words, the curse words, like the guy experienced with Atlantic Magazine driving around in the Tesla truck, and everybody flipping him off and yelling curse words at him on Sunday, the first Sunday of spring, as he wrote, because they hate spring. They hate Sunday. They hate Elon Musk. The Democrat Party is a filthy, violent, criminal hate cult that loves foreign gangs and terror groups from the Middle East. But they hate America. They're not on the side of civilization. But in any case, here's just like the guy, the idiot at the Atlantic should have made a video of all the people yelling at him and cursing him out and flipping him off. And then we could all enjoy it the way that he did in his rented Tesla Cybertruck. And he's got cameras. The cameras are built into the truck. You should post the video. But, these print people, they're a little behind the times. The Gutenbergs, But never mind that. Here's the audio portion of a video. Ohio, Saturday, I hate Elon Trump, nationwide Democrat Party hate fest. And dude, you got to listen carefully. And again, we beeped out all the curse words. But then dude leans out the window and says very calmly, "I love you," right? And it's a perfect representation of today's Democrat Party versus civilization. And the simple explanation is they're not liberals, they're the left. I don't know how many times I have to say it. They're not liberals, they're the left. And here's the audio.
Come on, bring it on. Bring it on. Nazi.
I love you. Beep, I love you. Right at the very end, you just hear him say, "I love you. I love you. I love you." He's smiling. He's got his head in the window. He's afraid he might be violently, physically assaulted. Well, they're honking and they have like boat horns and they're just screaming and cursing, and he's a Nazi. They love calling everybody a Nazi. They're so close to being Nazis. They're so stupid. They're so ignorant. They have no idea what these words mean when they use them.
Nazi!
I love you. That's great. I love you. Now, I mentioned Newsmax, where I work. I work here by day and Newsmax by night. Right, and there's a lot going on there because Chris Ruddy, is the founder and the CEO of Newsmax and Newsmax Television. And he has he's got a printing empire, and it's a vast media empire now. And Christopher Ruddy, owner of CEO, founder, Newsmax, went public yesterday. He had been offering an initial public offering for some time, the IPO. And yesterday, they were officially listed on the New York Stock Exchange. And let me say, I've known Chris Ruddy for a number of years now, and I've always liked Chris Ruddy. I mean, really, hanging out and having dinner and being normal, walking around his neighborhood in Florida and stuff, where he knows people and people know him, and a real regular guy, a normal person. And I've always found him to be a great guy, to be a really good guy. And personally, I like him. That's a fact. I wouldn't say that if it were bourgeois, because that's not the line of work that I'm in. But went public yesterday, and when it officially listed on the New York Stock Exchange yesterday, and it opened at $10 a share, $10 a share for Newsmax stock yesterday with the opening thing. Now, stock traded at $135 a share before trading ended yesterday, and the network suddenly valued at $16.3 billion in one day. And Christopher Ruddy, the headlines are all over the place, that conservative news outlet Newsmax mints new billionaire. And that billionaire is my close personal friend, Christopher Ruddy. Now, we're not like great old pals or anything. We've known each other for years, but I wouldn't claim to be his best golfing buddy or anything like that. But Newsmax founder Christopher Ruddy, ex-New York Post journalist, is now billionaire, Bloomberg reported. And I believe more than $3 billion. But it was a remarkable day yesterday, that's for sure. And in fact, this morning, Newsmax, and again, opened at $10 a share. So if you jump right in and bought 1 million shares at $10 a share, that'd be $10 million, I think. I don't have $10 million. But it trading this morning at $145.50 when it opened at $10 yesterday. And just amazing stuff. Today, Newsmax stocks soar, pushing market cap over $16 billion after IPO, after initial public offering. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Yeah, this morning, Newsmax stock soared more than 120% Tuesday morning, extending its massive 735% gain on Monday, following the conservative cable news outlet's IPO, the initial public offering. Newsmax raised $75 million in its IPO on Friday, with shares priced at $10. Newsmax's rapid ascent in its first 2 days of trading pushed the company's market cap to $16.7 billion. Shares traded, for around $190 early Tuesday. That's today, $190 early Tuesday. Wow. Chris Ruddy, I'm doing a high five. I'm doing a big high five, an air high five to Chris Ruddy. And I've got to say that I emailed him yesterday, and just after the close in trading, and just said, "Wow, congratulations, buddy! What a great day! What a great day for you!" And he got back to me. He did email me back at midnight last night. He emailed me back. He's still up emailing. I would imagine he's a pretty busy guy. But Newsmax became a cable TV network in 2014, and boy, look at him go. And I started there almost 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. And I had spoken to Chris Ruddy for a long, long time before I started there, almost 2 years ago. And I think I've talked about it, but I I really like the people that I work with, and we have fun doing the show. We really do. We have a great Zoom call before the show going over the stories and the copy and the scripts and so on. And we have a lot of fun, a lot of really good people. Jeff Field is the executive producer in New York, and Kira and John and Eric and Anna and Chris down here, and really great people, and we have a lot of fun every day. And one of the things that makes me happiest, I think, this made me happy. I learned weeks ago now that inside the network, our and all the people that work there producing the TV shows and stuff, our show is the show that everybody wants to work on. And that's, I can think of no higher praise than that. Our show, Chris Plant, The Right Squad, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Newsmax. What I learned recently, and it sounds like I'm, thronging my own rind here, but what I learned, and has made me very happy, is that in New York and elsewhere in the network, but primarily in New York, where most things come out of for the network, my show is the show that everybody wants to work on because everybody knows that we're the most fun. And that's very nice, I've got to say. Don't I? Yes, I do. All right, we've got a lot of news stories to get to, lots and lots of news stories. But before we do, I'm looking at the big board here with listeners calling in, great Americans everywhere. There was a great moment yesterday at the President Trump welcomed Kid Rock to the White House and signed an executive order having to do with ticket scalpers. And I hope to get into that because it's an interesting thing for the president to do. It is. Also, the news media jumped over President Trump, made some quips about a third term as president. And the news media is going bat guano crazy, of course, as they often do. Oh, no, he's a dictator. He's a Nazi. He's a fascist. He's Hitler. And then they, go scare the Jews out of the newsroom because with their armbands on because they're mental. Just amazing stuff. And I've got to get this completely ridiculous Harvard story. Trump administration to review billions in federal funding to Harvard and the Harvard Crimson, the campus newspaper. Very upset about this. Last night, 3 federal agencies announced a review of more than $8 billion in multi-year grant commitments to Harvard University as part of an ongoing investigation into the university by the Federal Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism on Monday. I think the on Monday makes it poor sentence structure at the Harvard Crimson. The review, which was launched by the Department of Education, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the U.S. General Services Administration, marks a drastic escalation in the Trump administration's threats against Harvard over its response to pro-Palestinian protests, genocidal anti-Semites that they are. You're Nazis. See, the problem is you go around calling people Nazis, and that's it's the Russian playbook where you accuse the other guy of being what you are, right? And that was explained under oath on Capitol Hill by an Obama administration official named Victoria Nuland, who explained what the Russian playbook is.
It is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
So they call you Nazis while they allow anti-Semitism to run rampant on college campuses, including the Ivy League campuses like Harvard and University of Pennsylvania and Yale. They love one thing, and that's hate. They love the hate. Pretty amazing stuff. And why do we give $9 billion to Harvard University? They have an endowment fund of more than $50 billion, and they fleece their students while they produce apparently the most ignorant college graduates in America come from Ivy League institutions. Rubber stamp bourgeois. Why are we giving billions of dollars to Harvard? Why? We've got bus drivers and nurses and talk show hosts putting tax dollars into a till that is then siphoned off and given to Harvard University? Aren't you a self-sustaining operation? Don't you charge your snowflakes, your little anti-Semite snowflakes, your armband-wearing anti-Semites? Maybe you should charge more so that you don't have to go to the taxpayers, to city bus drivers to pay your bills for you.
He was wearing my Harvard tie. Can you believe it? My Harvard tie. Like, oh, sure, he went to Harvard.
I think I said earlier, Rebel, Rebel by the Rolling Stones, and my friend Seaton, he said, well, you dope. It's David Bowie. So I'd like to apologize for that and correct the record. Now let's go back to the telephones. Let's go to Angela, calling from Montclair, Virginia. Angela, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Very well, very well. How are you?
I'm well. You know, I'm looking at all this protest going on, the burning of the cars, all of that stuff that's going on. Don't the Democrats realize that could backfire? I'm hoping that the election today in Wisconsin, you know, I moved here from Wisconsin, and I remember even though there were a lot of liberals there, they were pretty much, I guess you could say, moderate liberals. I don't think that they're going to lose midterms if they keep this stuff up. The Democrat leadership, they're not condemning it. And I just think the whole thing is going to backfire on them. At least I'm hoping. I just don't see how it couldn't. I'm hoping that it backfires on them, but I don't see how it could not backfire on them. The way that they're behaving, this is turning off a lot of people, and a lot of the Tesla owners are people from their own camp. So I just think they're going to lose. I really hope they lose in Wisconsin today, but I think they're going to lose.
Well, they're trying to normalize really horrible things in America. Mob, street, political violence, and they've been doing it for years, ever since St. George Floyd, St. George of fentanyl, who had died of cardiac failure while resisting arrest yet again and is a career criminal, career junkie. The Democrats love everything that's terrible, and they despise everything that is good. And I certainly hope that they lose in the two special elections in Florida today for the House of Representatives and for the Supreme Court, the open seat on the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. But look, they've made firebombing and street violence normal. They make hate normal. Because, Angela, you know it, they're the left.